equip your sword and shield and come explore our review of the RPG Roguelike Demons Tier Plus. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel like the roguelike genre is saturated by good games and not so good games? The question is, which category does publisher Cowcat's new pixel RPG fall into? Let's find out, shall we? The story in Demons Tier Plus is, well, it's there. It's a tale of greed, betrayal, and corruption. 1,200 years ago, and that's a long time in anyone's book, the wicked and evil King Thosgar traded the life of his granddaughter, Galenia, for the promise of ultimate power, offered by a creepy-looking Draugr-type dude. King Thosgar became possessed and brought devastation upon the world, unleashing monsters and demons that terrorized the poor innocent townfolk. That was until a heroic warrior traded his own life in order to defeat the Demon King and seal him away. Fast forward specifically 1,200 years, and now the evils have once again surfaced. King Argon, presumably a new good king, has sent you on a mission to a small town called Bendel, where a deep, mysterious, and unexplained hole has appeared. You are to join forces with other brave heroes in order to investigate said hole. Okay, so the dialogue and story pretty much conforms to all the usual tropes of a medieval RPG game, resulting in a far from unique and enthralling tale. But it's also not the worst I've seen. One thing Demons Tier Plus does feature is alternative endings, which is novel and provides some replay value too. Story aside, this kind of game lives and dies on its gameplay, doesn't it? Demons Tier Plus controls like many dungeon crawler roguelikes, via a twin stick shooting system, one stick to move, one to shoot. Simples. This is similar to games like Enter the Gungeon, Hotline Miami, Binding of Isaac, and so on. Along with the twin stick controls, each hero also has a unique ability. These include abilities like increased defense, self-healing, and AoE attacks. Each ability has its uses, but I found that once I'd unlocked the cleric hero who possesses a self-healing ability, I never looked back. When I combined this ability with the increased stamina stat, I felt like I couldn't lose, but more about that later. As well as the abilities, each character can also dodge, which is very useful when you come to boss fights, because some of their attacks are unavoidable. The dodge feature does have a short cooldown, so use it wisely. In addition to these controls, you do have an inventory of sorts, which is where you'll find your health potions, if you've bought any, and escape ropes. These provide quick exiting of the dungeon, which can be very useful. As has been mentioned many times already, Demons Tier Plus is a roguelike, and we all know if you die in a roguelike, you die in real life. You don't die in real life. What I mean to say is, you lose your progress, obviously. So my advice is, use your escape ropes, especially when you're just starting out the game, because you don't want to lose all those precious D-coins. But what are D-coins? I can only assume this stands for dungeon coins, and not dick coins. D-coins are one of two types of currency in Demons Tier Plus. You acquire D-coins by killing monsters or opening large chests at the end of boss fights. The second currency is gold, which is found in smaller chests and in things like urns and crates, which are scattered around the levels. But what in blue blazes is the difference, Baker? Well, calm down and I'll tell you. D-coins can only be used back in Bendel to buy things like heroes, consumables, and better weapons. Whereas gold is used to upgrade your hero when you're actually in the dungeon. This can be done after clearing each floor. Like in most RPGs, the stats you'll be able to upgrade are health, armor, damage output, and speed. In Demons Tier Plus, you can also upgrade the reach of your attacks, your stamina, which basically dictates how quickly your ability regens, and a D-coin multiplier stat. This basically increases the amount of D-coin you get from killing a monster. What I found in my time playing Demons Tier Plus is sometimes you'll want to tailor your hero's stats to what you want to achieve. For example, when you're first starting out, you might want to lean towards the D-coin multiplier, so you can collect more of them, meaning you can buy better heroes back in town. As I said just a moment ago, D-coins are used to buy heroes, consumables like potions and dungeon keys, and also weapon upgrades. You'd think if these townfolk really wanted you to save their lives, they'd give you these things for free. No? Just stick to the script. No, okay. The cool thing about Demons Tier Plus is you can kind of put a deposit down on the item if you can't afford the whole thing right out. This is a good way to spend all your D-coins before you go back into the dungeon and maybe die and lose them all. If nothing else, I would recommend buying potions and silver keys. Silver keys will open up the cages of imprisoned villagers, who will then join you on your dungeon run. It's always nice to have a bit of backup. And the good thing is, you don't have to split the loot with them. Talking of backup, you can play Demon's Tier Plus with a friend, locally. There's a sign located in the middle of the town where you can add a second player. Demon's Tier Plus is fun and somewhat challenging, at least up to a certain point. On each floor you will have a 5-minute time limit in order to achieve a randomly selected quest. These can range from having to kill all the enemies in the area, or just open all the chests on that floor. Once the quest is completed, the dungeon's trapdoor will open and you can exit to the next floor. There are 5 main areas in Demon's Tier Plus, each with its own aesthetic and different enemies. The majority of these areas contain 2 floors each, and then you progress onto a boss fight. As I said, you can escape the dungeon at any point, even during a boss fight, as long as you have an escape rope. If you go over the 5-minute timer on the floor, you'll be hunted down by the Reaper, a massive, indestructible, ghostly demon who will pretty much kill you in about 2 hits. The added pressure of the time limit is a nice touch, but on the whole, you don't really go over it. Most of the quests are easy to complete within that 5-minute time limit, and that's coming from a guy that's bad at these games and has the reaction time of a deflated balloon. Even I managed to get to the final boss on a couple of occasions, so you've got no excuse. I achieved this by unlocking better heroes, especially the aforementioned cleric, whose self-healing ability combined with the stamina stat upgrade made me virtually unkillable. I still needed to upgrade my health, my armor and my damage output, but being able to heal so often made me feel pretty OP. Once you complete Tier 1, you'll unlock a hero called Valkyrie. She is badass. Tier 1 took me several hours to complete, mainly because I needed to leave the dungeon, buy better upgrades and heroes, and then repeat the whole process. But once I had Valkyrie on my side, I completed Tier 2 in probably like 15 minutes. None of these criticisms are designed to put players off. I would stress the point that I am no good at roguelike games, but I still played this game for many hours. Sure, I raged a few times, but it was really fun. I think the fact that it's not as hard as some other games like it made it more appealing to me personally. And I think it's also important to remember this game is cheaper than most takeaway meals. The graphics in this game are nice. I'm a massive fan of pixel graphics. It always impresses me how a game designer manages to convey a theme in so few pixels. The character designs in Demon's Tier Plus are very anime in style, especially the females. This game will not be winning any awards with feminists anytime soon, that's for sure. I wasn't a massive fan of the charred caverns though. That area was a little bit harsh on the old eyes. That reminds me, I feel I should say this game may need an epilepsy warning, especially when you defeat a boss and they explode. There was a lot of flashing on the screen. But having said that, I'm no medical expert. Demon's Tier Plus is set to be released on consoles on the 9th of June and on Xbox One a day later. In the UK, the game is set to cost less than £10, and if you're in the US, less than $10. That is super cheap. What can you buy for $10? $9.99 can buy you some stylish Xbox One controller buttons. It could also get you some fashionable USA flag swimwear. Or you could buy the 2007 hit movie National Treasure 2 with everyone's favourite Nicolas Cage. Then again, you could buy this charming and fun twin stick roguelike. The choice is yours. There's probably information and features I've missed out, and if so, I apologise. There's only so much this brain can remember. If you have any opinions on this game or this video, pop them in the comments section below. Also, let us know if you're planning on playing Demon's Tier Plus. Whilst I still have you here, do us a massive favour and hit that like button, and if you haven't already, the subscribe button. We at Shake and Bake Gaming have the goal of being a fun, honest and engaging gaming hub, and with your help, we can do that. Until next time, peace out.